Sandbox has finally been released after being in development for almost a decade, and not many people seem to like it. For those unaware, Sandbox is an open source 2 game making platform which acts as a spiritual successor to both Garry's Mod and, unfortunately, Roblox. The developers who make games for it can release them as standalone games on Steam without paying any royalties whatsoever, which means Sandbox also acts as competition for the Unreal and Unity engines. The developers said they wanted to do more than just a second Garry's Mod because that would be too easy. But let's be honest, the real reason why they did not do that is money. A video game that can compete with Roblox will make much more money than a video game that will compete with one of their other games. Unlike Garry's Mod, Sandbox does not use any Valve Games assets, meaning Facepunch does not have to pay Valve 30% of the game sales revenue like they did with Garry's Mod. But, like mentioned 2 years ago in a previous video, that also means some of the things that made GMod iconic in the first place are not in Sandbox. The first thing that needs to be mentioned is that Sandbox's price is $20, which is double the price of Garry's Mod. The developers mentioned it will be made free to play 2 years after release. So my question is, what exactly will happen to those who paid $20? Will they get refunds when the game becomes free to play? Or is it just a situation of, oh, thanks for the money, loser, here is a stupid badge that you can do nothing with. Have fun. The reason they are charging so much money is because Facepunch wants to avoid the situation of a lot of people downloading the game for free, releasing a bunch of bad game modes and add-ons, and filling up the main page with a bunch of garbage. Unfortunately, this plan did not really work out, but more to that a bit later. The main menu is weird. The first thing you see is the weird Jerry player model that can be replaced with 4 other human models. Yeah, I'm sorry, but having 5 player models is unacceptable for a game that costs 20 euros. Garry's Mod costs 2 times less than that, and it has over 100 default player models without even counting the downloadable custom models. And by the way, the colors of the clothes you are wearing can be changed to whatever you want, unlike Sandbox. 2 years ago, I complained about the game not having enough customization options, and somehow nothing has really changed. It's the exact same story. There are barely any cosmetics. What makes it even worse is that Sandbox really likes having these pop-ups on the main menu. What are the pop-ups for? Microtransactions that are designed to make people FOMO in and buy them because, oh no, the heart boxers will no longer be in the shop in 2 days. Come on. The prices are ridiculous. 13 euros for a swag chain. It costs less money to order a chain like that in real life. But no click, you do not have to buy any of these. These are just cosmetics. Yeah, they are just cosmetics, and I paid 20 euros for the game, so I should have access to all of them and not just to the ones that look like shit. Even though the developers strongly suggested that the players will be able to change their player models to whatever they want, that is just not true. Most of the game modes you will play do not use custom player models. You are going to be stuck looking like an idiot for 99% of the time. Alright, here is the game modes page. It looks exactly like Roblox, which is not surprising. As you can see, they remade GM Construct in Source 2, and honestly, it looks amazing. The spawn menu kind of sucks. It's just a worse version of the spawn menu from GMod. Why not do it the GMod way and have the models be extremely tiny icons? The spawn menu's best feature is that instead of having to just go on the Steam Workshop to download stuff, you can just do it in-game without even having to restart Sandbox. It is even possible to download spawn lists from other people. Most of the stuff that can be downloaded right now is just a bunch of models from other games and, of course, cats. Sandbox comes with a total of, I'm not kidding, 3 NPCs that cannot even fight each other, have really bad AIs, and use text on top of their heads instead of having voice lines. Great! The game is called Sandbox, but the Sandbox game mode has less options than the 2006 version of Garry's Mod. Yeah, people will probably make custom NPCs, but is their AI going to be as good as the NPCs in GMod? Probably not. If you're not going to use Half-Life Alyx assets to save money, at least have the decency to add some type of NPCs in the game. Placing NPCs and watching them fight each other is something that all GMod players have done at some point in their lives. NPC fights are literally one of the things that made GMod popular. It's extremely iconic, how can you forget something like that? The weapons that come with Sandbox do not even have reload animation sounds. How is it possible for a game to be this bare bones after being in development for so long? And who exactly came up with the idea of adding iron sights to the weapons? Is this Call of Duty or what? Another thing that annoyed me is the lack of console commands. No target does not work, third person does not work, bind v no clip does not work. Like, am I doing something wrong? And why is there no pop-up menu in the top left corner? Where are all of the customization options? Sandbox likes to brag about being able to automatically port other games to your spawn list. Awesome, but why can it only port props, and why are there no source games available? In what world is this better than the GMod mounting system? For a game that really likes to brag about being in Source 2, there's no face poser, no finger poser, no eye poser, nothing. Yeah, you can still place balloons and make cars using props, but who cares? You cannot remove 90% of the features that made GMod popular and expect people to like it. One of Sandbox's best features is the new Source 2 physics system that allows the player to spawn a million props without making their PC explode. That's nice, but hold on a second, didn't someone make a mod that allows you to do the exact same thing in Garry's mod? What also needs to be mentioned is the optimization, or wait, let's rephrase that. The lack of optimization. I played on a 380 on medium settings, and it kept stuttering all the damn time, even though my PC speculations are way better than the recommended system requirements on Steam. Next is a topic that not many people talk about, the lack of that creepy feeling from Garry's mod. Everything is just way too colorful and shiny. Facepunch made the decision to not pay Valve for the Half-Life assets, and that completely ruins what made GMod great. Just from a texture point of view, if you focus on the art style, GMod looks more realistic. The textures used in GMod were made by Valve, and the way they were made was by photographing things in real life and then turning them into textures. It does not look like Sandbox used the same approach. The textures look like they were made by hand, which in my opinion takes away the realism and makes the art style feel cartoony. Maybe that's the point, but you cannot just call this a love letter to Source 2 if you plan on removing everything that makes Source, Source. The skyboxes are also way too bright, and the lack of soundscapes kind of sucks. In Garry's mod, people could use the soundscapes from Half-Life 2 to make the game feel more alive. Take GM Big City as an example. One of the reasons why the map is so iconic is because of the soundscape used in the background. Just listen to how alive the map feels even when nobody is there. You do not get any of this in Sandbox. At times you might hear some birds in the background, but that is it. The sound design is also not that impressive. All the iconic sounds are gone and replaced with a bunch of generic stuff. Most maps in pretty much all game modes seem to be lacking good-looking shadows. If you told me this was an asset flip made in Unreal Engine 4, I would believe you. Anyway, let's try some other game modes, like for example Prop Hunt.
Can you be quiet, please? Thank you.
Shut the f.
Can you be quiet, please?
Can you be quiet, please?
Innit?
Thank you.
Yep, it's Prop Hunt. The most popular game mode is Mod Alone, which is almost an exact copy of the stupid brainless dopamine shot games you would find on Roblox. Anyway, another popular game mode is Sand Miner, which also seems to be a copy of a Roblox/Minecraft minigame that can barely run in 30 FPS. Why would anyone pay $20 to play a worse version of a minigame from a free-to-play game? Why not just play Roblox? And why is there a casino in one of the most popular game modes? Yeah, I know, you can only use in-game money, but how long until they decide to add microtransactions to it? Remember when I said the developers added a price tag so we can avoid trash being published and getting on the main page? Well, many of these icons were made with AI. This game contains user-generated content, which may contain AI-generated stuff. We don't AI-generate anything. What that says is basically, expect AI-generated content in a $20 game. How about you just ban AI instead of just saying, oh well, some of the things could be AI generated, but we don't AI generate anything, so we are good. No, you're not good, it's your game. If AI shit shows up on the main page, it's on you. Everything is subjective, obviously, but the game feels extremely generic and has no personality whatsoever. It has no idea if it wants to be a GMod replacement, a Roblox replacement, a game engine, or everything at the same time. Not only that, but even if someone ends up making a good game and it ends up being on the main page, it's most likely just gonna be a copy of something that already exists. Take Sausage Survivors as an example. It's just a worse version of Vampire Survivors. It's not bad by any means, but why would you pay $20 for Sandbox instead of just paying $5 for Vampire Survivors? I am not a developer, I am a player. I do not care how good the tools are, and neither does everybody else. What people care about is quality. If something is not high quality, nobody will want to use it. Maybe my video will be extremely outdated by the time you watch it, but that's exactly what I said 2 years ago, and not much has changed. It feels like my time and money were wasted playing a lesser version of GMod and Roblox. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.